Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew. Today we're going to be going over day 4 of Advent of Cyber, and today we're going to be playing with Atomic Red Team and the Exploring Phishing with Atomic Red Team. So this room definitely was a slight challenge. I also had to kind of go through a little bit of the documentation guide today, but once I was able to kind of figure out what exactly Atomic Red Team was doing, it made a little bit more sense when I had to get into Event Viewer to kind of see where everything was actually running and where some of our flags were at. So shout out to Cyber Maddie for completing our video for today, walking through the Try Hack Me event for Advent of Cyber. I thought she did a great job, and let's go ahead and get started. So SOCMIS is approaching, and town of Warville started preparing for the grand event. It mentions that the glitch, a quiet, talented security SOC mass engineer, begins to celebrate, but would be different with looming threats. So as we start to kind of go into our learning objectives for today, something that I hold near and dear is we get to play with and get into malicious techniques using MITRE attack framework, learning how to use Atomic Red Team to conduct attack simulations, which was new for me, so that was actually fun to play with today, and then understanding how to create alerting and detection rules from the attack tests. So as always, Try Hack Me gives us a attack box that we can do. I had that spun up, so you can already see I'm running my little PowerShell that we're about to start running. If not, you can RDP in using the credentials they provide. So they quickly kind of touch on the cyber attacks and cyber kill chain. How and why that's important is because depending on where an attack is occurring, we want to kind of see where in that kill chain we need to maybe either get ahead of to either stop, or for detection reasons, maybe go before that and make sure we have our ruling and tuning in so that when we start to see these things happen, we can quickly act on those to get those done. So then, of course, we go over MITRE attack framework. They provide the link as well that will get you to the site. You'll actually be using that today on top of some Googling to find some of your solutions for your flags, which we're going to go over here in a little bit as well. But you have your 14 verticals, and with these come sub-techniques and other techniques that adversaries can use to get into a system, conduct reconnaissance, do defense evasion, discovery, lateral movement, and C2 and exfil. So for those that haven't used Atomic Red, using myself included, Atomic Red Team Library is a collection of red team test cases that are mapped to the MITRE attack framework. The library consists of simple test cases that can be executed by any blue team to test for detection gaps and help close them down. The library also supports automation where the techniques can be automatically executed. However, it is also possible to execute them manually. So for today's challenge, we are going to be running some of these atomic tests, and we're specifically looking at some of the spear phishing with attachments is what it's going to have us run for these atomic. So once you spin up your VM, you're going to be getting into the Windows PowerShell prompt, which is right when you get in. It has it on the bottom left here that you can actually pop right into. So I obviously have that open for full screen. Now it's going to tell you some very helpful and some things I 100% recommend looking into, which is, of course, our first and foremost when looking into any new tool, the get help function. So get help will give us what parameters are available and kind of give us a small description of what the tool actually has that we can actually run. So I think here on the bottom here as well, it also gives us a pretty good breakdown of the parameter, the explanation of what it's doing, and then actually an example use case, which I think is actually fantastic to also show you, like, hey, if you were to do this and run a checks prereqs, you would run it at the end of your invoke statement with attack. So, but our first command, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Our first command we're going to be doing is doing the flag show details with an invoke automatic test T1566.001. So we're going to go ahead, go over here. You're going to copy that over. Right click into PowerShell will then allow that to paste in. Now, as you can see, the output we are getting, or it looks like it's beginning our test. It's telling us that the atomic test name is download macro enabled phishing attachment. This is test number 1. We have a test GUI ID, and then a description of what actually is running. We see our attack commands. Looks like this is via through PowerShell. We see some command prompts that might be being done. So it looks like this is creating a phishing attachment.txt and a phishing attachment.xlsm. So that's important. Keep that in mind because you'll see why we're going to be going into the event viewer later to kind of find that. We then see there's also another, looks like another test called number 2, world spawned a command shell and used an IP address in the command line. And ideally what this is doing is this is explaining the attack commands, the command that occurred, command with inputs. So maybe some other stuff you should be seeing if you were to go through the event viewer and kind of see this coming through maybe like a SIM, or what you might be seeing on a defensive side of what actually is running. So they do a decent job, I think, and Atomic Red actually shows a lot of the things that are happening and occurring when you're running these. And so the output above is a clear split up into multiple parts and each matching a test. So once again, these are some things that's starting to point out. So the technique, the atomic test name, the test number. So things I kind of already pointed out to you guys reference the PowerShell script that we ran. So we now want to run the check prereq command. And now what that's going to do is make sure that I believe this allows us to actually run our test successfully. So please continue to run the test. Before running each emulation, we would ensure that all required resources are in place to conduct it successfully. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and copy that over. I want to make sure I didn't miss the clear command. Yep, okay. So we're going to go over here. We're going to paste that in, hit enter. And so we see a check prereq for our 1566001 download, and then prereqs are met. So ideally, that's showing us that the command is going to, in the dependencies, part of the test details, verify that all requirement sources are present. So that's good. We want to make sure that there's nothing, I think, popping up saying, hey, unavailable, cannot run. And we didn't get that. So excellent. So moving down the line, we've now verified that the dependencies are there. So now we're going to go ahead and invoke our automatic test. So we grab this, bring it back over, we hit enter, we have running our atomic test, done executing test. Perfect. So detecting atomic. So here's where we're going to be going into cleanup. To make it easier for quick events, open up the event viewer. Okay, cool. So we're going to clear this out first, and that way I can kind of show you where we're exactly going to see all this stuff that's occurring. So we're going to go ahead and run our cleanup command. That should be clearing that up. Now, where you're going to go to for this is you're going to open up your Windows tab right down here on the left side, hit Start. Let me close this out so I can show you guys the full path. So we are going to go to Start. You're going to go to Event Viewer. That's going to spin up. You're going to go to your Applications and Service Logs. You're going to go to Microsoft. We're going to go to Windows. Yep. We're going to scroll all the way down to the S's, and we are looking for Sysmon. There is Sysmon. So we're going to click on Sysmon, and right here, operational. Let's see if that cleared out. Refresh. Okay, it didn't, which is fine. But so the next thing we could do, since we're into this, if we want to clear out this entire logs, we can clear out the entire log simply by right-clicking here on operational and then running the clear log command right here. That's just going to empty out this. And so when we actually do and rerun these, we'll see what we want to see for the output. So we'll go ahead and just clear out the log, and that's fine. We're not going to save it because it's not a huge issue. I'll show you why here in a minute. Now, since we're already here, do not close this window. We're going to go ahead and minimize this. Okay, awesome. Now that we've cleaned up all of our logs, we now want to run this command again so that we can actually see and invoke that same. If you remember here on the top, when we look through everything, it should be creating a phishing attachment.xlsm or that phishing attachment text. So let's go ahead and we're going to highlight here our command to invoke this one more time. I'm going to paste this in. We are going to run this. All right, executing test, done executing test. Now, next we're going to go back to our event viewer, right-click on operational logs, and then hit refresh. So reopen up that event viewer tab. We're going to hit that refresh tab. And now we should see if we go through some of the logs up here. So there's our phishing attachment, XLSM. Let's see if we can see where the text is. Phishing attachment.text. So here we go. Cool. So we see that it looks like this ran. Down here too, it's going to explain to you kind of inside that event viewer, going through the details tab here, looking for UTC time, when this occurred. It looks like there was that command line for PowerShell. we see the file version description, the command line that ran, and we have our parent process ID. Yep, parent process guide, parent process ID. And we see right here in the current directory where that's sitting. It's sitting in our local temp directory. So we're going to open up File Explorer. We are going to go down to our local C disk. We are going to go to Users. We're going to jump over to Administrator. We're going to go to App Data, Local, and Temp. And you're going to see a few extra things in here because I already jumped through initially and got this room completed. But we see our phishing attachment.txt. Now, if you recall, if you've already gone down to your questions, the question it's going to ask us here is what was the flag found in that .txt file? So you're going to quickly double click onto here, and then right here to the side, we see our flag. So THM glitch testing for spear phishing. So there we go. There is your first flag. So we're going to minimize that. We will still need the file, not directly the temp directory, but we're going to minimize that for now. And let's go down here and kind of see what else we're going through. So alerting on Atomic, we're going to go over the Sigma rule and how those are made and kind of the importance of why these need to be created. So I don't believe we'll do any Sigma rules here on this case for this exercise today, but it's just kind of going over the title, detection, why it's important, what it's looking for. And now we get to our challenges. So we found our .txt file information for the THM glitch testing for spear phishing. Our next question it's asking us is the attack technique ID that would be for our point of interest. Now, there's multiple ways you can find this. The easiest way is just by going over to your MITRE attack technique, or you can even Google that specific question. And we are looking for T1059 command and script interpreter technique. We're going to grab this, head back to our challenges here, and we're going to submit this, and boom, we are correct. Now, while inside your MITRE attack framework, there's multiple ways you can find this. The attack sub-technique ID focuses on the Windows command shell. So let's kind of go pivot in here, and we're going to be looking for command and scripting interpreter Windows command shell. So 10.59.003. Once again, can be found by Googling that question specifically, or if you're pretty familiar with MITRE, we can quickly just dive into that and then see if we just pivot through those sub-techniques, we'll find our Windows command shell. What is the name of the atomic test to be simulated? Now, this one, I had to kind of look through actually Maddie's video, so great job, Maddie, because I kind of had to do a quick little refresher how to find this. What we're going to be actually looking into to find this is we are looking for invoke atomic test. See if I can get this over. There we go. So invoke TAC atomic test, and now we are looking for the 10.59.003, and we are going to do show details. So once that runs, that's going to spit out some information as we've seen before. Now, if we look right here, so we're wanting to see the atomic test name, we see simulated black byte ransomware print bombing. And as it showed us before, we have all this additional information, the atomic test number, the GUID, and the description. So it looks like that is what it was asking us for. Let's see if that gives us a green correct answer. Whoop, whoop, we're in. Now, what is the name of the file used in this text? Now, if we look down a little bit more, we're going to go through our descriptions. Looks like we have nothing in that description. Let's keep going down here. We have our attack commands. We see a file, not seeing a file yet. Cleanup commands, nope, not seeing anything. Here in this dependencies, we see a file to print must exist on the disk at specific location. And it looks like we have a Warville underscore ransomware.txt. So let's grab that, see if we get our green circle. And we got it. Excellent. So, all right, our last flag is what is a flag found from the atomic test? So all we're going to be going from this is we're now actually going to execute the atomic test, which I've already executed it. So once this runs, it's going to have you create a file. And by doing that, you're then going to go back into your event viewer and go through your events to see where that is going to be sitting. So once you find that, and as long as you can either clear your logs before you do this, or you can still just run it again, and you'll still see it as if when you go through here through your date and times for your general or details, you're going to see it puts it into a specific file location. So I don't want to give all the tricks away, but you'll find it fairly simple because one, you're going to create that file so you'll know what file name you're looking for. I named mine, I think, just like ransomware.txt. So once you find that file location, you're going to navigate to that said file location. And by doing that, that's going to show you your flag that you're needing for this last step for what was found on the atomic test. So I'm not going to give it to you, but message it in the comments below if you'd like to see it. And we will maybe do a quick little comment game and see if I can get you guys some more information. And that was the challenge. You know what? I wonder if I can. You're going to see it. Okay, that's fine. So let's make sure this goes through. And we're there. So when you go through the event viewer, you're going to see the same kind of explanation that when you had your target file name of where that puts it. You're going to see it go into, I want to say it's your temp folder. So I believe I cleared mine out, so you may not see it, but we can try to go there real quick and see if it actually pops up. So desktop, yeah. So I put it on my desk. My test number 4 is the thing that popped out of it. Once you double click this, it's going to take you to your Warville ransomware.txt. And we have our last flag. Looks like you are going to get it, so you're welcome. But this was a fun room, but we see that the glitch was working on testing for security posture before the SOC misses here. I will run as many tests to ensure we are all safe from uncovering all threats before they hit us. And then we see our flag. So yeah, definitely a challenging room, I think, if you've never used Atomic Red before. So I thought that was pretty fun and enjoyable. I'd like to hear your comments below, what you thought about the challenge. What was your favorite part? What was challenging on it? And yeah, keep up with your guys' challenges for the time. We had 20 more days until we can knock out and save Christmas. And yeah, thanks for coming and staying along this long. If you have for the video, drop a like, a comment, subscribe, and tell me what was your favorite and most difficult part. So thanks so much, you guys. I will catch you guys on the next day. Keep hacking.